Up, everybody? I got a new scan that I'm testing out. Looks like it works pretty good on a weekly setup. If you notice, Matic on crypto is pretty strong. You got your 1 bar on a weekly candle, confirming you have at least price action above 4 bars back on the close. 4 bars back, you're closing above that. Now this needs to confirm on a Sunday to confirm a weekly candle, but the theory is looks pretty strong. I mean, if you draw a trend line on this, you got to break out on Matic. Let me get this over here where I can draw a decent trend line on it. But yeah, right there. That's definitely broken above weekly downward momentum trend line. So in theory, now you could retest this next week. So it could go as low as 37.80 or lower. I don't think it's a bad idea to buy a little bit this week. I'm bidding some today. On a day count, you're on a 5 plus 5. Normally, your 6-day, you should get a rally. That's going to be a Saturday. So crypto looks pretty strong right now. If you look at Bitcoin, for the most part, everything looks fairly good for now. I mean, we may get at least one more week out of this. I'm hoping till at least the 1st of September, maybe sometime around the 3rd or 4th of September. So that's what I'm looking at. The ones that I'm seeing, like if you go back and look, see how it worked before. Like you look at Starbucks, it hit on August 5th on this weekly setup. I call it a setup because it's not, like I said, it's not a confirmed buy, pull the trigger now, buy signal until you make sure it closes at the end of the week. So this would be on a Friday on a stock, on Starbucks. Obviously, they only trade Monday through Friday. So if I would have caught this on August 5th, whatever day that was, that week, that would have been August 9th, would have been the confirmation. When it closed that week out, if you'd have bought it end of the day on that Friday, the very next week, you made 26% on your money in 1 week. Now this week's been kind of boring, went down a little bit, kind of flat. I would anticipate it to keep going up because now you're above your weekly will stop, above the 72.73. As long as you have that, that's a pretty solid buy signal. Now you are overvalued compared to gold, and your money flow is starting to rotate out. So it's not a great time of year, in my opinion, to be buying stocks long term for any kind of swing trade. I don't think. I would wait till at least the middle to maybe the last week of September. Just historically, we usually have some kind of shakeout. The worst week of the year is September 18th through about September 25th. There's about a 6 to 7 day window right there that the market goes down nearly every year for at least 5 to 7 days. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I'm bidding this AAOI stock just because it looks really good on a weekly chart. If you go to the daily, it's a little overextended on the daily. So I'd like to see it pull back to 845. Maybe I actually bid 8.88. I think that's the low of this candle, pretty much. I just like that number, 888. Bid on Algo. It's on a 5 bar daily, weekly. Looks really good. Let's see, where'd I bid Algo? Let me pull these up right quick. I can tell you. So Algo, I bid 0.1375, and I'm not sure where I got that level, but let's see. I'd probably go to a 240 on it. Try to get some kind of pullback. I may have just bid this or the bottom of this candle, maybe. There it is right there, your wheel stop. Your 4-hour wheel stop is 1375. That's probably what I was looking at. I'm already in this ERN, in the money pretty good on it. It showed up August 19th, which I believe that's this week. Yeah, that was this week. It was early this week, so I got in early on it. Took a little bit of a gamble, but it had a decent 9 set up, so I took it. It was the end of last week or beginning of this week. I can't remember exactly when I bought it, but it's looking pretty good. You're above your weekly wheel stop, which is very strong usually, especially if you confirm on a Sunday this +1 candlestick. I would think this should do really well next week. I don't have a problem swing trading something like that. Phantom, same thing. It's got a really strong candle this week. It's up 26, almost 27% this week. This thing's rallied like 80% off the bottom in 3 weeks. Matic looks pretty strong. Like I say, it's got the nice 1 bar. It's confirmed breakout of your downtrend. Naka looks good. Yeah, this thing's gonna act weird. Sometimes I gotta refresh it to get it to load up. But so I'm bidding. I try to go to like a daily or a 4-hour candlestick to try to get my entry level. If it looks good on a weekly setup, that's from what I've been taught from my mentors, Larry Williams especially, a man that's traded 61 years and hasn't went broke yet. So I'm not going to bet against somebody that has that much experience. I know that. But now your 4-hour on Naka is overextended. You've got a 913 on that. So I would expect some kind of correction, maybe to this $1.07. Could even pull back to this, even the dollar, 1.00, 1.01, 1.02. You could round that up, 1.02. That'd probably be a decent place to buy Naka if you want to trade something like that. Let me see if I can pull this back up here. 29. This is probably going to be one of my go-to scans. I just started noticing this probably in the last week or two. I started testing this out, and it seems like it works a high percentage of the time. If you go back, even on this ORN, I very seldom ever trade this, but I don't even know if I've ever tried to swing trade it. Obviously it's pretty strong. That's a 240, but that's on a 4-hour chart. But go back in history, go back in time on the chart and see how it worked. You look here in October, which everything went up in October of last year, but when you got your first candlestick with a +1 on it on a weekly chart, you see what your price action did. It pretty much went straight up for at least 3 or 4 weeks. You had a small pullback right here, but it kept going back up to at least a 7 bar, 7 weeks. You got, say, 6-week rally out of it. And then, that wasn't the end of it. You got another one back, continued on through March, um, but definitely, I use this wheel stop a lot. If you have access to Symbolic, and you have to subscribe to Larry Williams indicators, and that's it right there. Williams wheel stop. I changed the color to yellow. I think default it's like an orange color, but ideally, if you can get a 1 bar above that wheel stop in the same weekly candle setup, that really seems to work a high percentage of the time. A lot of these, you don't have that yet, so I'm not 100% sold on this rally as far as calling that the bottom's in. I'm not waving that flag anytime soon. I think we got one more shakeout in September, somewhere around September 17th, September 15th. I would start looking for some kind of black swan event. That's close to I think it's a lunar eclipse day. I believe that's a new moon day. It could be full moon or new moon. I can't remember exactly. I'll just be real careful around that time frame. I'm playing this little short term, bounce time frame. If things look good on a weekly chart, I'll take the trade. I'm not going to pass up free money. If you got a decent chance of making some money, but SUI looks pretty strong. It's actually above the wheel stop on a weekly basis with a +1. That seems to work a really high percentage of the time. You see what it did over here back in November of last year. Your 1 bar didn't quite get above it, I don't think. Let's see, close was, no, it didn't do it until week 2. Now week 3, you got a small pullback, 8%, 9%, but then it finally started taking off. It took it a while to get momentum, but once everything else starts taking off, that's seems to work pretty good. Aave worked really good on a weekly basis. You see it printed the 1 bar here, confirmed it. The very next week, you made 22% on your money this week so far. And it's probably going higher. My guess, if it can get above this 137.29, we could start seeing, could make a push to this 200 zone here. Looks like 198, 199 maybe. It looks really strong for now. I mean, daily it probably needs to cool off a little bit. Your 240's a little extended. You could throw in a bid around this 133.30. This is financial advice, of course, just educational purposes. What I'm doing, I don't like the daily. That's on a 913 rolled over. I'd probably put a Fibonacci on this on Aave. Let's see if I can do it. Fibonacci retracement. And let's throw it from right there to right there. I'd probably look for at least a 382. This 123.07. 123 and a quarter, maybe. That's what I'd bid on that one. Try to get a little bit of a discount. You don't want to be buying the top. That's my opinion on Aave. I noticed Nvidia looks strong on a weekly. It's hit a 9 count daily also, so I would anticipate possibly a pullback to this 117.50 zone. Maybe 118 and a quarter on Nvidia next week. They have earnings next week on the 28th. That's next Wednesday. So if they miss on earnings, this thing could fall out of bed. I mean, it's been straight up for nearly a year and a half. I mean, it's the strongest stock on the planet, but At some point, the thing's gonna come down. It can't just go to the moon forever. And this time of year is historically not great for technology stocks, so I'd be careful. I definitely would not be all in on pretty much any stock right now, but definitely high risk stocks that are up 200-300% on the year. Nothing wrong with taking some profit off of that, in my opinion. But let's see, Tron. It's been really hot here lately. It broke out of your high right here, 1442. I'm hoping this thing pulls back a little bit. Daily, it was overextended, hit your 9, pulled back. I was trying to get it somewhere around this 14-15 cent zone. Haven't got it yet, but we'll see what it does next week. I'm not going to pay these high prices right now. You're chasing the price action. I'll throw a Fibonacci on this somewhere probably in here and try to get some kind of discount on it. Let's see, I'll throw that from there to there. Yeah, I like that 1470 zone. Maybe even 1385 on Tron. Worst case. I think it's going to keep going higher. Weekly, it looks really strong. Like I say, it's already confirmed that close. If it closes Sunday above this will stop with a +2 count, that's most likely. I mean, you could get a week 3 pullback, but most likely this is going to continue higher into price discovery, whatever they call. As far as try to figure out where it's going, I'd probably throw a line on this. I like to use my 9 counts for a trend line. So that's saying, if you come over here, if this goes up for 9 weeks, this could easily go 19, maybe 20 cents. Pretty easy. I don't know what your all-time high is. That 1476. So I don't see a problem with that. That's 18 cents was the high on this 13 bar back in 21. 18 cents. So you're going to have some resistance there probably. You've got people that bought the top back in 21 that are just trying to break even and get out if they're still watching it. Most people may have give up on crypto if they bought in 21. They've been underwater for a long time. But so anyway, that's what I'm watching, this weekly price bar flip. I also like to run my weekly will stop. If I can find it. Where's it at? Crypto will stop weekly buy signal. These seem to be working pretty good. Here you got ERN, you got SUI. Gary's showing up. Takes forever to load for some reason. I don't know. I'm going to have to refresh again, but dadgummit. Come on, symbolic. And let's see, how's it look on this Gary? You don't have a +1 yet, so I'm not I'm not diving into Gary yet, and it's not above a weekly will stop. So that's a false scan reading. That shouldn't even be on the list. I guess it did print above it last week. Okay, I'll give you that. It was, last week it was there. EOS, you got above it right here, August 5th. These don't seem to be near as strong. From what I've learned from the symbolic webinars, if you want to wait for your best odds of something confirming going up, you wait for this one count to confirm on whatever time frame you're on, and that tells you your most likelihood direction of your next movement. Just keep that in mind. You know, a lot of this stuff, that's why I like my new scan is I'm scanning for your one bar going up. They call it a price bar flip on symbolic TD sequential rules. Like I say, it's confirming strength. So there's obviously more buying than there is selling on these type setups. So sorry, my daughter's running a fever today, so she's having some weird dreams over there, I guess. But so anyway, we're gonna end this video, and y'all keep an eye on these. We'll catch y'all later. We'll see how these work next week.